At least start tomorrow.
Yep. I think I'm gonna leave home just after 6.
I think I'm gonna sleep in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have an appointment until midday.
You can definitely sleep in.
Well, I figured I need to go somewhere to have breakfast because no kitchen, no mini fridge even. So annoying. I'm gonna go somewhere for breakfast, but yeah.
Get pancakes.
Literally, I was thinking of going to the diner that's just up the road. So yeah, maybe will. But it's funny because at dinner they were saying about, they were lamenting the fact that no fridge. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it's really annoying because you don't really realize what you have until you don't. But I was like, guys, it's okay. Like, I'm fine for food. I'm in Central.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all good. Like, it's fine. I had paisanos, like, for dinner. I'm good.
Alright, let's do some kind of countdown. Tell the world we're rocking. Ready to go.
Don't come knocking.
Japanese? Who can speak Japanese?
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. That's what I can say, literally.
That sounds like 3, 2, 1.
Go.
No,
Alright, so welcome back everyone to This Week in Sci-Fi on Ice, and we read the most interesting story so far, I think, and it's called The Daughters of the Moon by Italo Calvino, and the story in one sentence is about the baptism of the moon in the future world. Yeah, so we start off with someone I really don't really know who the protagonist is until the end of the story, but it's a bit of a twist, right? I don't know about you guys, but for me it was a twist, and maybe there were some clues, but so it's a story about the moon is dying and it's like decaying, cracking, and making its way to Earth, and there are these naked women who appear, and there's a bit of a journey, and the moon gets dunked. I'm gonna guess it's the Hudson, if it's a new New York or a new Hudson River, and then splash, there's a rebirth of the moon. There's some themes of consumerism and I want to say obsolescence that the author or the what do you call it, the narrator, sorry, is telling us about. And so yeah, how do you guys find this story, this baptismal moon?
Personally, I was thinking the writer was on acid or something while he was writing it, because it's just like, wait, what? I mean, I always thought the themes were painfully obvious at times. Several points. A, the themes. B, the guy kept including the word breasts when I feel like it was kind of unnecessary. And C, what the hell was the ending? I'm so confused. So it was interesting just because I'm going, I can't figure it out. Like, the guy was on something when he wrote it, and he's just like, yeah, and then they're all mammoths.
Yes.
Like, what? He was driving a car 3 pages ago. And, like, he couldn't see her, but yet her knees were in line with his nose. What? Were you blind? How could you not see his knees next to your head? But yeah, there were several things where I was just like, what? So I was very confused.
Yeah, it was definitely a very weird story. I was listening to the computer reading it back to me at some points, and then I would have to stop and go back and read it again because it was just
Like,
yeah,
the computer got it wrong.
yeah. You think like no, this isn't what's really written there, and then I go back and I read it and go, okay, yeah. So it is definitely something different from what we've read before.
Can I ask, when was it written?
Fairly recent. I think 2000 and, 2009.
Okay.
It is translated though,
Yeah, I thought maybe that was also part of it.
out of Italian.
Yeah, because some of like the sentence structure was a bit archaic at times, a bit stilted in a way. But it just like, sorry to fixate on all this like women's things, but just when he was saying with their faces and breasts turned to the sky, and like that literally means like your nips, right? Like your entire chest would have to be up to the sky. You'd be bent over backwards. So I just feel like it was really unnecessary to include that. But then I'm thinking, I scroll back and I'm like, oh, Italian. Oh, maybe he's really like it. I'm like, maybe that's just part of like the way you talk about women. I don't know, like the way they're described. I hate to stereotype, but it's like there are stereotypes.
Yeah, it was very descriptive. I think that's one way to put it.
Just like the ash, was it the ash fell on their faces and breasts? I'm like, but not their shoulders or hands.
Yeah, nowhere else.
The other part of their body.
Oh man,
You could have just said faces, or you could have just said them.
their body, their torso.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
Yeah,
that addition was unnecessary.
it sounded like the script at some point for like a dodgy like anime movie. Like,
Yeah, like teenage boys sat in the basement being like, yeah, and then it landed on their breast.
and then they giggled.
Yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, write that.
oh man.
Yeah, definitely something very different.
Yeah, but seriously, what was at the ending? Like, what did you guys think? I'm so confused.
What did I think? So I read it twice, and the first time I, got this idea that the story was, set in the future. This, I don't know, it tries to describe it, as I mentioned before, as this place that's basically New York, but it might be New York, but it might not be New York. Like the author doesn't know really where this place is from, and it not much clarity. But anyway, so like, I guess there's this idea we're in the future, and things resemble things from the past, but they're not really the past, and it doesn't tell us what they are until we get to the end, where it talks about we raised our. Actually, I gotta find it.
Trunks and tusks to the
Yeah,
sky.
and something like, okay, that's not a metaphor. That's you actually have tusks and trunks, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is kind of like we're going into a different dimension here and something's missing, uh, or it's just really poor. And yeah, so the meaning of it, like like, what do mammoths represent? Like something of an after an ice age? Are they the ones that survived? Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys? What do mammoths represent? Constant, slow-moving objects? I don't know.
I don't know, permanency, like just something that endures.
But they're dead. They're definitely
Yeah,
dead.
I
Mammoths
was
are
the
dead.
opposite, extinction.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they lived for a really long time. I don't know.
Yeah. They kind of made it partway through the Ice Age, and it was like, that's enough. But in this story, yeah, now that is a big plot hole. It's a big WTF, get out of here. I don't want any more of that. It was the end of the story, luckily, so it was over. But, I mean, so after reading that, I did read it a second time, and then there was just so many holes. And I guess I won't get. It's boring to talk about the holes, but there's just one I just want to get out of the way, and that's like the name of not the protagonist, like the friend. This is
The girl, yeah, the
yeah,
woman.
QFWFQ. What? That's the name of the moon is old, comma QFWFQ agreed, pitted with holes, worn out, rolling naked through the skies. I'm like, what? There's a
Yeah,
discussion. There's a what?
They
yeah,
Um,
use the word naked a lot.
but then the girl, she's called Diana,
yeah, that's a
which is
sensible
pretty,
name. I can.
and it's connected to the moon as well. So like, what? What? Yeah, I know. I was thinking when I first read that name, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like, um, oh, what other famous one of those famous artists you guys know, writers, I mean, saying like, names then lose meaning, and
Mm,
they started using letters and numbers and stuff. Um, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be so far in the future that like there are no normal names left. But then it just, yeah, it was like, oh, but actually it's Central Park.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just too removed, and there's you lose
Too much
any
going on.
appreciation for for anything. Everything just becomes meaningless and
Because like when
trifle.
when he was like the like I was saying the themes, because he said families and young children of all type, all people came together, especially when they passed through the Latin and Puerto Rican communities, and you're like, oh, okay, I see your point. Like, yeah, it's racialized districts and underfunding. Yep, yep. No, I get your point here, but it was like we got slapped in the face with a spade. Like,
Yeah.
they
Oh
so off
yeah.
the point he was trying to make.
I mean, I was struggling to follow what was really happening to the moon. Let alone the themes.
And the size as well. I
Yeah.
was like, wait, is it big or not?
Well, like maybe over time it's getting a bit smaller, and so that's why it's coming closer to Earth, right? Less gravitational, or more.
But it was in,
Yeah.
but I mean, in the jaws of that claw machine,
Yeah.
it was in the jaws, crushed, like crunched until the cigar shape, and
Yeah.
then yeah, there were like hammocks and trees when it emerged, and the women were in these hammocks, and like Diana's waving like somebody. Like, wait, is it big or small? Like,
It's acid size. It's
yeah,
very yeah. It's very all over the place, and you you don't get you just can't appreciate it, which is a shame. Because and I don't know and the themes, as you mentioned, so obvious: decay of the moon, obsolescence of like consumerism, which is really boring. But I mean, if you want to do a story in that, like try harder. I mean,
yeah,
it's a bit harsh, but I mean, it's all over the place, is what the story is, and so the themes are also all over the place because I feel like dunking the moon into the river, for me, as I said at the beginning, is like a baptismal because obviously it's rejuvenated and like these Dianas have saved the moon and it's back. The moon is back, everybody, and it's like, yeah, but what did we learn about consumerism? Nothing. The moon is back.
yeah. You gotta go bigger than a river. Listen to the hobos and the people with poor personal hygiene, like because they were living in the scrapyard. Well, big
Yeah.
time first.
Oh, have you guys seen that movie Annihilation?
No.
Oh, it's really good. But there's this alien thing, that a meteorite that hits the Earth, and there's this part of the world that when any human goes into it, they just get consumed by nature or whatever. Dean, have you seen it?
No, no, no. But I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Check it out. Yeah, but it's sort of there's this how do you say it? It's very fantastical about what happens in there, but yeah, it's got some good themes to support, like obviously like um, I forget what it was, but the one, well, basically about no, I need to wait. what was the reason I didn't bring it up to compare it to the themes. Why did I bring that up? I don't know. Alright.
Hobos, scrapyard, rejuvenation,
Yeah,
baptism.
rejuvenation. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, so the environment's claiming back. What because we've built up these mega cities, and I think in this story it describes the world being interconnected of all these skyscraper cities, right? And then at the end of this one, it's like, oh yeah, nature's claimed it all back, and so Annihilation does that well. Although I haven't got the words at the tip of my tongue to sell it. I'll just let you guys go watch it on your own. But yeah, that's all I want to say about that. Oh, but I think about the translation, yeah, there were some things like on the first page I'm looking at, it says ancient expressions like full moon, half moon, and last quarter moon. I was thinking, no, those are not expressions in English, and you know, right?
Yeah.
Just like that, it lost me so hard, and I was thinking, like, couldn't you replace it with other expressions that relate to the moon that we have?
Yeah.
Although I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Well, the cow jumped over the moon, or like
Yeah.
the dark
Once in
side
a blue moon.
or-
Yeah, dark side of the moon. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, blue moon. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. That just might have been a translation thing. That would have helped, maybe, but not sure it would have added to the story at all.
But there were, yeah, and I think I agree with like Dean said. It's because it's translated from Italian. Um, there were certain bits and pieces where you're like, I get what you mean, but and who knows, maybe we're like more attuned to it because of our profession that like you kind of look for the faults more.
Mm.
'Cause, yeah, that's what, like you're trained to.
Well, can we? Is there a charitable explanation of this story, or like say the breast, like is something about being naked and I don't know. I don't know.
But only the women as well, mind you. The women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of sounds like a crazy cult, and like, especially, I don't know. It's naked. Like, the only thing I can think of is like Eve from the Bible. So like, that when they had sinned, then they became naked, and
Oh,
so
that was another thing that I found funny, being a woman, is that he was like, oh, they suddenly realized their nakedness and covered their breasts with their arms. And I'm like, honey, there are two places in a woman they would want to cover. Okay, they wouldn't just cover their breasts. But like he's so obsessed with that part of the body. That's all he was concerned with. I was like, no, they would try to cover their entire body. Like he's just so obsessed. Obsessed, man, obsessed. But that no, you just saying about covering.
yeah.
I found that weird because it's like you don't actually know women. Like you wouldn't know what our actual reaction would be to suddenly be realizing nakedness because you'd be like you cower, right? Try and hide everything. Anyway, side topic. He's obsessed with women, is my opinion. Not that he knows women. He's obsessed with them from an outside objective kind of.
I think it's a good conclusion to make. Even as a man, I kind of feel like, okay, unless your intention is to do that, but I feel like it's not. I feel like it's coming out sideways from him. It's like he's just it's on his mind. He's like, oh yeah, this
breasts.
Yeah.
And then it landed on their breasts, and then they covered their breasts. Actually, it crossed my mind to kind of see how many times that word is mentioned.
Yeah, you could do not a Google search. You do a Microsoft Word counter.
But yeah, Dane, where did you find this story?
The interwebs.
The dark side of the web.
Oh, only 3 times. Huh. It feels like it said more than that.
I think it's the way that it was said. it definitely lingers in your mind.
Yeah, unnecessarily, basically.
Yeah, in that, what was it, like 2 pages? It's
Yeah. There was another word um, that I didn't know the meaning of, which was something or bizarrely. Um,
yeah,
did anyone look that word up? Because I've never seen that.
no,
Oh, here it is. Tatterdemalion.
Oh,
It was a tatterdemalion or
tattered.
bizarrely dressed crowd.
I mean, tattered. Like wearing like hobo clothes, yeah.
Okay,
does it really mean that, or you just make that up?
Um, it really
I'm
means
gonna
that,
Google it
yeah.
now.
If you well, it's got tattered the first half of the word. I think like the
Yeah.
Amelian is the second. Blah, blah, blah. No, I think
As,
that's like a. Yeah, go on.
as an adjective, it means tattered or dilapidated. As a noun, a person in tattered clothing. So yeah, and I assumed that as well because of the tatter, but I just thought it was so unnecessary.
Hmm. Sometimes words lend itself to its meaning.
Sometimes words are just unnecessary.
Yeah, like hirsute.
Yeah, but I mean that even makes it even weirder, knowing that it's translated from Italian.
Yeah, but also it was like he could have just said it was a bizarrely dressed crowd. He says those words anyway. So why does he say this bizarre archaic word that is not in common usage? Whoever translated it, okay, maybe it's their fault, but he says it was tatterdemalion or bizarrely. Like,
Hmm.
in case you don't know the meaning of that, you idiot.
It's like
Like,
I just want to say that you're the narrator. You're the one telling us the story. Don't tell us what it might or might not be unless
yeah,
that adds to the story, which it doesn't add to the story.
yeah.
So
It
uh,
was a dark or black night.
it's like a story at a pub where it's like I can't really remember. It's like yes, it makes yeah. We call that another example of an unreliable narrator when they do that. Okay, I wouldn't. But okay, I want to talk about some of the action scenes in the story. The collision. There's the parade. The consumer. There's like what is it? Instead of Day of Thanksgiving, consumerism. Like
Yeah, Consumer Thanksgiving Day.
yeah. So there's
No.
there's a parade and they've got a giant balloon of. I think it's called the Happy Consumer. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
and I can sort of see society sort of it's like a hyperbole of society celebrating consumerism, but I think humans naturally sort of are averse to it even though we do it, so I'm not sure that we would go that far, but anyway, in this world it is, and they're headed on for a collision with the naked woman and the moon, and I was sort of thinking like, okay, why is this happening, or we're just watching this, we're just here to watch this. I What did you guys think about the purpose of that in the story?
Uh, the whole parade, I feel like it was one of these themes that again was just like slapped in the face of like, look how ridiculous it is. Look, this guy. It's for this stupid reason, and they have this stupid thing because I'm trying to say consumerism is stupid. Um, I just felt like it was very blunt. Um, like he could have been much more um, subtle, like use description, maybe describe like the crowds or something, or give it a bit more context.
Yeah,
Um,
because the vulnerable people that would be the actual consumers watching the parade, and if they were to sort of see some kind of collision or their ideals broken, or as the collision happens, and then there was some liberating thing, I don't know what from, because they've still got their American Expresses and they've still got the shops down the road, so I don't know what's at stake here. There's nothing at stake, just a collision of parades, or.
yeah, and then the cars were merging new and old, and more women got naked. Um, oh
Oh
god.
man.
And it was just like, but how? Why? When? What? Like, There was just no explanation.
Just yeah,
That's definitely acid.
Yeah, I could just imagine LSD. That's gonna be the explanation.
I can. One thing I found, the first thing I found bizarre, like majorly bizarre, was when it was quite mysterious at the beginning of the story when our narrator sees Diana on the park bench and she's naked and she's got all of like these consumer bags sprawled out in front of her and like she's having this mental breakdown of like, oh no, what have I done with my life? I'm just consuming things. And like you say, the theme is a slap in the face. Fine, yeah, kind of was like okay, and then she disappears and I was like okay, a little bit intriguing, and then all of a sudden she's on the boot of
The
the
point.
car, or the Americans call the trunk of the car, and I'm thinking, okay, what behind the car? And then the narrator is driving and she's still on it, right? And then the other cars have also got naked Dianas on the back of their trunks, and I'm thinking, this is not carrying or driving the story forward, so to speak. So that,
It's just one of
yeah,
his like fever dreams where he's woken up being like, "Oh, that would be so hot." Like that's what.
yes, yes, that. Oh
The day
dear.
the air conditioning went out.
That's what I mean. Like he doesn't. He's just obsessed with women. It's not like he wants to. Like he never. Like what does she say? It's beginning. Um, Keep going. Like
Yeah,
she doesn't say anything other than I think that. Um, there's absolutely no interest in why all these women are doing this, what their actual connection might be, except that like the author, the protagonist is saying like, oh, they must power them, they must have connection to the moon. Like, well, yeah, historically women do because the month is important to us, um, but like that's so surface, and it's just like yeah, he's obsessed with the outside, and that's it.
Yeah, the story didn't need them. It would have still been the same story had there been no naked woman.
Or it had been a naked man.
Yeah.
Why he still had to keep talking about their breasts, I don't know. But yeah, she didn't need to be naked. Or even if it was then that, then explain it's because you know the connection or something, or the fact that there shouldn't be anything from Earth, for example, because she eventually goes and lives on the moon. Um,
I think I can fix this story. I think I can do it. So this is New York, and there's going to be a new Statue of Liberty. And as the moon is getting closer, uh, the Statue of Liberty, she derobes, and then she lassos the moon, throws it in the water, and then she says something about, what's the quotation at the bottom of her statue?
I'm not totally
Something
sure.
about bring your masses or your poor people,
Bring your
whatever.
sick, your hungry, or
Yeah,
downtrodden.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then she dunks the moon in the water, and then she says, "This is for you, Puerto Rico," and she throws the moon into the sky.
This is for you, Puerto Rican communities, and not
Oh dear. I think, yeah. No, I would not write that story, but there we go.
Because she'd have to say it in French as well. She's made in France.
Ah, well,
But
now,
yeah, no, it was so arbitrary, and it was. I just can't. I like that last paragraph about the mammoths. Like the guy obviously had written it. Kind of had woke up the next morning or next day or whatever, read it and been like, "Fuck it." Like they're actually mammoths because it's such a jarring change. He couldn't have written it at the same time. Or it was someone else, like his buddy with him, and be like, "Yeah, then they're all mammoths."
Yeah, quick, someone distract him while I put this last bit in.
Yeah, hit publish, hit publish.
well, there might be an answer for why it's such a terrible story, and that's that he submitted this amazing story that we'll never be able to read, but his editor just said, "Why are there no boobs in this story?" And it's like, and it just ruins the whole story. So we're just missing whatever it was. I think that's
Yeah, that's the
case.
answer. We're getting something wrong.
Yeah, that's very sympathetic of you, Stephen.
I don't know. I just feel we've just trashed this author so hard. I just think I don't know. I
That's
don't know.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
He is dead though.
It's ooh. Okay, I feel bad now.
No, he's dead long time ago.
Why would you feel
2012.
bad? Everyone dies.
So the original author, I think he died in 85 or something.
Yeah.
And so this story was written quite a while back. And then it's only been recently translated.
Oh, okay.
Wait, if you criticize something that Dickens wrote, do you feel bad because he's dead?
No. No.
He
So
put it out there. It's online. It's his work.
yeah, I take that back. But when Dean said 2009, I thought this was a new story, and I was thinking, where was it published?
I think the New Yorker.
There we go. I don't know. I don't know. I know of the New Yorker, but I don't know much about it or what
I
it
feel-
represents.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, but I would just realign my perception of the New Yorker.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely getting a copy of the New Yorker tomorrow.
What kind of shit did they put in here?
Oh dear.
You could probably write for the New Yorker. I mean, it really is aspirational, if anything.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's got that word that I can't pronounce on the last page. Chiaroscuro, the painting.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, you aced it.
Cool. Yeah, I just like moments like reading that. It's like why are you describing this like a painting on a moon? And I'm thinking like, well, don't use a painting technique to describe the moon. It's just things like that was just so unnatural and.
But that is an Italian word, and it is a very specific type of painting. So that could have been an original, like the way he described it in Italian, because that's just like a way of painting.
But does it contrast with the other descriptions? Like the woods and the minute details were lost in the general impression of the freshness and lushness. I don't know. I don't associate that with chiaroscuro, but I don't know. I guess
it was like all his description. Like I was saying, he never went about the crowd or what was around the parade, and like the scrapyard. He really only describes as crater, and then it was very vague. His description was generally very lazy throughout.
Yeah, even though he did make efforts to describe it, I definitely found it lacking and maybe not poorly phrased. And like, well, what's your intention with writing that or telling me that? Okay, I'll stop.
I mean, it was an experience.
Yeah.
Reading the story.
It was one for the ages.
It was that.
It was that. I mean, there's been a vibrant conversation, so there's that. It's not
Definitely
redeeming.
Critical we've been.
Gloves were off right at the beginning. I think I didn't even give my impression. I think we just went straight in.
Please don't ask.
Well, the guy's dead, so rest in peace. But your story sucks. Do we want to say anything more about the mammoths? Did we solve the mammoth thing or?
Acid. That was the end.
We trumpeted, lifting up to the sky our trunks and our long thin tusks, shaking the shaggy hair from our croups with the violent anguish that takes hold of all of us young mammoth, when we realize that now is when life begins, and yet it is clear that what we desire we shall never have. That is trash.
It doesn't make sense. It's completely arbitrary to the rest of the story.
Yeah, it's like a bad poet. It's terrible. Um, well, the desire is consumerism. Um, the violent anguish, but do we have that? Where does that come from?
That's a teenager. That's what that is.
Yeah. Where's
They're
why is the nakedness gone? Why are we shaggy hair all of a sudden?
because they're mammoths, not women.
So they were lifting up to the sky their trunks. The naked women were lifting up their arms. I see a parallel, but no meaning.
No, he's only interested if women are naked.
But mammoths have got to be hairy. Okay, yeah, alright, I'm not gonna stretch that. Okay, let's. Shall we end this? Shall we end the misery of
Yep.
our um our poor author? Okay, who's going first? I'm gonna give the lowest score, by the way. So I'm gonna go last.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our story, Daughters of the Moon, I'm gonna give it a 180.
Mm.
180. Okay, let me put Dean's score up. Dean, where's your score? Where is it? Here we are. 180. Okay, Sarah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. There's no justification. Wait, it was not good. I'm gonna go an even 100. 1 out of 5. Even then, I think 2 out of 10 is generous. Maybe I should just go 50, because then that'd be 1 out of 10. But I'll stick with 100.
All right. Let's get your score, Sarah's score. Here. Okay, 100. Okay, so I dislike the story. It didn't make sense, and I had a wonderful time talking about it. But that doesn't come into the consideration of my score out of 500. I am giving this story, a score of 37.
Ooh, very low. Very low.
It's not I'm not angry, but I'm just that's what you get. That's what you get if you write that story. You get a 37 out of 500, and that's what I get. Okay, let me put it on the old.
Yeah, because I mean, like the conversation was amusing, but yeah, the story was too confusing.
Yeah, it's like when you. I don't want to bring in students into the conversation, but if when you see something interesting from a student, you might tell a co-worker about it.
Yeah.
And but you don't improve their score because you laughed about it with it. sorry, I feel terrible.
Yeah, it's still not right.
All right, so we read "The Daughters of the Moon" by Italo Calvino, who luckily has passed away, so he doesn't have to hear us torment his soul. I mean his story. And the score average is with some trumpets. 106 out of 500.